From the KettleLand Digital Desk, I'm meteorologist Scott Munt, and this is Weather or Not, your daily talk show where we talk about weather or not. Let's go ahead and show you what's coming up on today's episode. As we've had the cold air in KettleLand, we set some records yesterday, set some records even this morning as temperatures fell to the middle to upper 40s across central, north central, and northeastern South Dakota. We'll take a look at our severe weather chances over the next several days as we continue with scattered showers and thunderstorms. The pattern as we get into the second half of the month, we are expecting a lot of heat just off to our south and southeast. That eventually will try to make its way into the northern plains, including us in KettleLand. Along with that, heat will follow the edge of it because that's where I think we'll see a lot of these showers and thunderstorms that can move through KettleLand, and I think mainly at night. So we'll talk about the rainfall, the recent drought monitor, and this coming weekend. That's all ahead on this edition of Weather or Not. Well, we had that chill in the air this morning to cover central, north central, and northeastern South Dakota, where temperatures fell to the 40s. Let's go ahead and check some of those temperatures from not only this morning, but we'll start with yesterday. Because with the cloud cover, the northerly winds we had, the on and off showers, I know we had some drizzle in Sioux Falls that happened during the afternoon around 2, maybe 3 o'clock. I was out walking the dog, and we had some drizzle in the Sioux Falls area. Temperature yesterday in Sioux Falls, 68. The coldest high temperature for July 16th yesterday in Sioux Falls, 67. Now, that 68 came in during the overnight, because I know during the day we stayed in the low to maybe the middle 60s in and around the Sioux Falls area. But you see temperatures in the 50s in western South Dakota, numbers in the upper 60s to near 70 in central and south central KettleLand. And then we stayed in the middle 60s, or I should say had highs in the middle 60s in north central and northeastern South Dakota, not necessarily during the afternoon, because I think a lot of those temperatures in the upper 60s and low 70s, we probably hit those numbers during the overnight hours. As we hit the midnight hour going into the 16th, that's when we had those temperatures in the upper 60s to near 70 degrees. Then more or less we remained steady or cooled as we went through the day with the cloudy skies and the northerly winds. Who set or tied records yesterday? Those areas are highlighted in blue. 59 degrees, the high temperature in Rapid City, that set a record. 69 Chamberlain and Mitchell set records. 65 in Aberdeen and Watertown. Tied a record in Brookings at 63. Tied a record in Spencer, Iowa at 71. And we hit 69 in Yankton. That set a record. And you're looking at the coldest high temperatures for yesterday. So those areas in white, that's still the standing record with 67 degrees in Sioux Falls. What happened this morning? Well, we had clearing skies. We had clearing skies during the evening and overnight. We had light winds. And, that front moved through, helped to bring in the drier air, so we had low dew point temperatures, and this is what happened. We had temperatures this morning that fell to the middle to upper 40s. I just listed a couple of cities here where we had the numbers fall to the 40s. I went ahead and looked up the top 3 coldest low temperatures for today, July 17th. And you could see from the list that we had our second coldest in Aberdeen at 46. We fell to 48 in Watertown. The coldest temperature is 38. The third coldest is 45. So we were close. Set a record in Mobridge at 44. We are second in Sisseton at 49. Third in Huron at 47. And a record in Pierre at 46 degrees from this morning. So we set those records with temperatures in the 40s in central and northern KettleLand. Now, we will warm today. Temperatures do return to the 70s to near 80 degrees. We do have 80-degree heat expected today across western South Dakota. We'll hit the low, maybe the middle 70s in the east and the northeast. Now, notice that we do have temperatures at 70 for Sisseton, Ortonville, Watertown, Brookings, even Worthington coming in with a temperature of 70 degrees. So don't be surprised if your temperature remains maybe in the 60s in parts of eastern and northeastern South Dakota, as well as western and southwestern Minnesota, because the cold air is slow to leave, and that's what will happen as we go through the day today. And the clouds will continue to thicken. I know we started with some sunshine in many locations, and then the clouds thickened. That will continue into the afternoon. I'll call it partly sunny this afternoon, dry skies, And tonight will not be as cold. Temperatures tonight will fall to the 50s and 60s, probably low to middle 60s in central and south central South Dakota. Mostly clear to partly cloudy skies. We will have southerly winds continue during the overnight. That'll help us stay warm. And cloud cover will also stick around. And I'm interested to see if we do get a shower or thunderstorm to develop during the evening and tonight in northwestern and north central South Dakota. Some of the modeling data trying to show that for northwestern and north central South Dakota as we go through the overnight hours and even lasting into the early morning hours. Otherwise, dry skies across the southern half of Kettleland. Oh, let's think warm thoughts. I think I had this earlier in the week. The warmest day so far this year. We've had those 3 days in June in Sioux Falls where the temperatures range from 96 to 99, so just shy of 100 degrees. On July 3rd in Aberdeen, we had a high of 96. We did that again prior to that on June 22nd. And look at Pierre. We've had 3 days with temperatures in the 100s, 104. That happened on the 14th, and 102 happened on July 9th and June 20th. And western South Dakota also had a couple of days with 100-degree heat, the warmest being 106 on June 20th. And we do have warmer temperatures on the way. We are looking at also a chance at scattered showers and thunderstorms, and we'll talk more about that next. We have chances at showers and thunderstorms, not for today, but I think this will hold off until maybe later tonight into tomorrow morning, northwestern, north central South Dakota, a chance at a couple of showers and thunderstorms. And then tomorrow afternoon and evening, we can see a couple of scattered thunderstorms in eastern and southeastern Kettleland as a warm front will be draped across that area and low pressure is not that far away, trying to set up into central South Dakota. Let's go ahead and take a look at our severe weather chances as we do go forward over into tomorrow. But to help along with that, I'll take a look at CAPE. What that is the convective available potential energy in the atmosphere. When we get to that graphic, and we've shown you this before, we just label it as available energy. But when we start to see those high CAPE values, then we have the strong updrafts that the storms can work with to bring in a better chance of seeing these strong to severe thunderstorms. So let's go ahead and show you what that is showing us. And you can see how we're starting to see some of that CAPE or energy in the atmosphere across western and southwestern South Dakota. This is later today. And into tonight, that tries to move into parts of central and north central Kettleland. I mentioned that chance that we have at a couple of scattered showers and thunderstorms into those areas, northwestern, north central South Dakota. Will we get anything severe? There is a marginal risk, labeled as a marginal risk by the Storm Prediction Center to bring in that chance for severe weather into those locations. But watch what happens as we continue through time here. This is tomorrow afternoon. Starting to see some higher CAPE values here across south central and southeastern South Dakota. Some of that does nudge across into east central Kettleland, so we are seeing a little bit more energy in the atmosphere. You know, that more or less goes hand in hand with seeing higher temperatures and higher dew point temperatures, as we will see that next week. And wait until you see what happens with our storm energy then. It really gets rid of it for Saturday, the first half of the weekend. Tries to come back on Sunday. First across western and central South Dakota. We will see a steady increase in our dew point temperatures again as we get into early next week. We'll stop it here on Monday afternoon. Now, Monday is a day where dew point temperatures are expected to reach the lower 70s. Along with that, we'll have air temperatures in the upper 80s to lower 90s that you do see what happens with the CAPE values, the storm energy, or what's available in the atmosphere to lead to these thunderstorms as it's starting to get into that high category. Anytime we see that charcoal and white color, and we are seeing that in central to east central South Dakota, especially in the southeastern Kettleland, well, that just tells us that, sure, the energy is available, as it typically is during summer. We'll need a trigger. We'll need something to get that lift in the atmosphere to get these thunderstorms to develop. Something else that we'll have to watch is to see if that atmosphere is capped, meaning it's too warm to storm. The heat itself just gets stacked upon itself. It just gets layered and layered upon itself as you go higher into the atmosphere. So that can be something that we're dealing with as we get into early next week. Don't get me wrong, we still have that 20 to 30% chance for a shower or thunderstorm, That's in our forecast, but I really think the best chance to see that will probably be at night. That's when something else kicks in, known as the low-level jet, something I can't explain right now. I'll probably save that for a future episode. But what that is that's winds that get a little stronger just above the surface to help give you some extra lift in the atmosphere, and that develops as we go into the evening hours and into the early part of the overnight, that low-level jet. So that also aids in that lift in the atmosphere, and that's what you need to get thunderstorms to develop. Do I have another time frame there? No, I don't. So this is a look at our severe weather outlook as issued by the Storm Prediction Center. This is for tomorrow. It does have a marginal risk for severe weather. Right now, I think a lot of it is trying to show up across parts of eastern and southeastern South Dakota with our developing thunderstorms along that warm front. This is the hail risk. It's low. It's at 5%. Again, what does that mean? Take a point anywhere in brown, 25-mile radius around it. You're looking at any storm that develops will give you about a 5% chance of giving you severe hail, as well as the wind risk here of at least 57 miles per hour. So we do have that risk going, and there's even enough spin in the atmosphere. I mentioned the warm front. That's a good focal point to get these thunderstorms to develop, but also area of low pressure will move through central South Dakota. And ahead of that, we'll get an extra spin in the atmosphere that it gives us that 2% chance of a tornado-warned storm. If we're able to get that spin in the atmosphere, there's that 2% chance of, within 25 miles of getting a tornado warning out of any of those storms that do develop for tomorrow afternoon and heading into the evening. First half of the weekend, marginal risk again, but this time more so across western, we'll say central and central South Dakota. And more or less, we're at that time of year. Okay, we're in July, mid-July, getting into, the second, or we are in the second half of the month. Still with the heat, still with the humidity. I know it wasn't here this morning, not here today either, but this is typical summer-type weather. As we get these thunderstorms to develop, we have the heat, the humidity. As long as we have the lift in the atmosphere to get these thunderstorms to go, we will run that risk of severe weather. So this isn't too uncommon for this time of year to get these series of strong to severe thunderstorm outlooks. So don't be too surprised if we continue to talk about this as we go through next week, as again, that it will continue at that 20 to 30% chance for these scattered showers and thunderstorms. Our weather pattern as we do go forward, I'll go ahead and let the 500 millibar play through. Again, this is more or less halfway through the atmosphere, able to pick up on ridges and troughs and highs and lows, to help us, meteorologists, figure out what's going on in the atmosphere over the next 2 weeks here. Well, right in the center of the United States, probably have a decent high-pressure system that's coming in. And then, let's see, we get this trough to try to dig here across the west and northwest United States. We'll see if that will bring in a system that can come in from the northwest. So those two things will actually battle it out. We'll see who ends up winning as we do get into maybe the last couple of days of the month. But this next graphic I went ahead and put that high pressure system in. Notice as it comes in from the Gulf, it settles across, we'll say, the southeastern part of the United States. Now, along that, we've talked about this all week. That's the edge of the heat right here. So we'll probably see thunderstorms try to come in from the southwest initially. And then as high pressure moves to the west, we'll eventually get into more of a zonal flow, which means we'll have to watch anything come in from the west, more or less straight from the west. And then we'll see what happens and see where this high pressure goes. Okay, that's something that we will have to watch as we get into maybe the last week of the month, we'll say. Go ahead and play it, take that full for you as it settles into the central United States. Now, this right now is telling me if this holds true on the 28th of July, that's a lot of heat. This could be a lot of heat here in Keloland. And then this eventually tries to develop here, this trough across the southwestern United States. That usually brings in low pressure systems, but we'll see what happens with that toward the end of the month. But if we're able to get this ridge in the atmosphere here in the central United States, by the 28th, I think we'll be baking in the heat, at least in the 90s. And then it tries to retreat to the south as this trough develops here. This is the last day of the month, July 31st. Still a lot of heat here in the central United States. We'll see what happens with this trough, how much it digs across the southwest, able to bring in some moisture, especially if this high-pressure system ever decides to leave. Otherwise, I think for the most part, it's cutting off a lot of our moisture supply, though we might be able to bring in some moisture from the southwest. As odd as that sounds, I know it's happened before, and we've seen that happen even earlier this month. So we'll have to watch and see what happens with that system. This is a look at the next 14 weeks with at least our chances for showers and thunderstorms. It's there, okay, but I think a lot of this will probably end up happening at night. I'll go ahead and let this one play through as well. I mentioned before, we'll start to see this come in from the southwest. That's what we have with this latest one coming in, again at night, Sunday night leading into Monday morning. As we go ahead and play the animation through, high pressure settles across the central United States, eventually seeing these above average temperatures, this heat that will move to the north. As that happens, from the west, we'll eventually see showers and thunderstorms. This is another one. Look at this, Thursday at night. Thursday night going into Friday morning. Another area here with showers and thunderstorms trying to develop across Kelloland. So more or less, that's the reason. I think the timing's doing pretty good with trying to bring these things mainly at night. And also notice that it's these steady chances for showers and thunderstorms to move through. Now, this gives you a better idea with that trough because we have outlined here with below average temperatures for this area here, highlighted in blue. Here's our high. Here's our above average heat right in here throughout Kansas, nudging into maybe south central and southeastern Nebraska. And around that heat, right in here, right through Kelloland, we can continue with these steady chances for showers and thunderstorms as we go through the tail end of this month. And then we'll see what happens as we do get into August. Here's a quick look at our rainfall outlook over the next 2 weeks. As I've been saying, steady chances for these showers and thunderstorms. A lot of this shows up across the Dakotas to the east into Minnesota, Iowa, Wisconsin, Illinois, and can continue that into the Great Lakes area as the showers and thunderstorms will continue to wrap around the heat with that area of high pressure just off to our south. What about the possibility of heavy rainfall? As we do look at the precipitable water that's in the atmosphere, the available moisture, how it's stacked in the atmosphere, that can bring about these storms with heavy rain. As you do see that outlined in eastern and southeastern Kelloland, this is for tomorrow, so any storms that do develop, we still run the potential to see heavy rainfall. We had that just a couple of nights ago with the line of storms that moved through southeastern South Dakota that were strong to severe, brought a lot of strong wind with them, but also some heavy rain. A lot of rain just in a short amount of time. I think it ended up being around an inch of rainfall in about an hour's worth of time. So that's a look at later in the day for tomorrow. And even as we get into this weekend, this is late Sunday, probably Sunday night, moisture returns. It means stacked in the atmosphere, those areas highlighted in orange and red. And even Monday evening, it's trying to point to that in the central parts of eastern South Dakota throughout much of Iowa. But again, this is a time when we have temperatures warming to the upper 80s to the low, maybe the middle 90s. And then that's when I get a little worried with that cap in the atmosphere. Again, too warm the storm. But if we're able to trigger that thunderstorm, it probably will become strong to severe rather quickly, too, with the potential there to see some heavy rainfall across the area. And as we go through the rest of the week, I think it go out until Wednesday. So even Wednesday, again, with our 20 to 30% chance for showers and thunderstorms we have in the forecast, they do run the potential to bring in some heavy rainfall. Coming up next, it's about rainfall and drought. Oh, the sound of rain. We'll probably have that again over the next several days as we are looking at shower and thunderstorm chances as we do run through the next several days at about 20 to maybe 30%. And you know what? Let's go ahead and take a look at our recent rainfall across the area. This takes us over the past 7 days. Now, keep in mind that these are just radar estimates of how much rain we've had over the past 7 days. You may agree or may not agree with these numbers, and you know what? That's fine. I don't agree with the 3/4 of an inch in Sioux Falls. I know at my house I had more than that. But the overall idea is just, to show you where we've had the rain and where we haven't had the rain. So anywhere you see there in the yellow to maybe the red colors, that's where we have some of the higher totals. You see Yankton's estimate coming in close to 5 inches over the past 7 days. So we've had a lot of rainfall into that location. I know Aberdeen had some flooding earlier. Their estimate coming in about 1 3/4. But, where I put that point near Folkton, that's coming in as a trace. So we have these, big differences, what I like to say, these big differences over short distances. You see in the central South Dakota, estimated at around 1/4 of an inch, and western Kettle seeing the amounts here of around an inch to maybe 2.5 in and around Rapid City. It's nice to see that across western and even southwestern South Dakota. But again, we have our gaps in south central Kettle. A lot of areas missed out there. You can even stretch that into east central South Dakota, Huron at about 1/4 inch, and then take that to the north until you hit maybe Brown County, where they've been getting a lot more rainfall into that location. This is the latest drought monitor. It looks a lot better. And I will tell you that 2 weeks ago, South Dakota, no drought was 34%. Last week with the update, that was at 44%. This week with the update, South Dakota with labeled as no drought is as high as 56%. So yes, of course, things are improving. Unfortunately, it has been coming with this heavy rain and areas of flooding. We don't need the rain all at once. It's nice to see it. We just don't need it all at once, that it gives us problems with flooding. Unfortunately, that has happened in some areas. We still continue with this severe drought here across southwestern South Dakota. It takes us into Custer County. So from Custer to Hot Springs, it's been very dry, but we've had some recent rainfall as of late. And again, keep in mind that this is assessed on Tuesday and it comes out on Thursday. So, some of the recent rainfall, of course, does not go into this edition of the drought monitor. And as we do go forward, it looks like we will have these chances for showers and thunderstorms, that things will eventually improve. Our weekend forecast does include the chances for showers and thunderstorms. As we take a closer look at our weekend forecast for you, this is for Saturday, the first half of the weekend. We may wake up to temperatures in the 50s and 60s, and this is just raw data coming in off of the computer model. By the midday hour, it's already trying to bring in a couple of scattered storms here across western South Dakota. We'll see if that holds true. A lot of 70s by noon on Saturday. Those numbers are expected to warm to the 80s for that area you see highlighted in orange in south central to western South Dakota. It's saying 70s here across eastern Kettleland. That may be a little too cool. I think we'll have our temperatures at least in the lower 80s for highs in eastern and southeastern South Dakota. And then notice on Sunday, we'll try to bring that rain to the east as early as, say, Sunday morning. We could have scattered showers and thunderstorms central to north central South Dakota. And then as we go through the balance of the day, still looking at these afternoon highs in the 70s, eventually seeing the 80s as the moisture starts to increase again later in the day in Nebraska, all the way up to Bismarck, North Dakota. Sandwiched in between, we could see those developing showers and thunderstorms, and they'll eventually try to make their way to the east, I think, as we do go through the late evening hours and into the overnight. We can see a couple of scattered showers and thunderstorms late in the day, Sunday night, and even going into Monday across parts of eastern and southeastern Kettleland. So the timing is working out pretty well to see the late day chances for showers and thunderstorms, and again, mainly at night. That wraps it up for me for this latest edition of Whether or Not. Thank you for joining me.